Hi everybody, how you doing? I'm Naomi from EJ's Fun Crafting. I'm so happy that everybody was able to join the Paper Crafters Get Organized Summit. This is amazing. I mean, I'm looking at all these tips and all these tricks from everybody, and I'm an organization. If you saw my if you saw my presentation already, you know that I'm mostly into Cricut crafting right now. Cricut and glitter, crafting with my glitter, but I love being organized. So seeing all these tips and tricks from everybody has been amazing. So I have the first question, Mary. That's a great question, and I've had several questions about this. I have my pull-out unit with my Cricut on it. This is cool. This is actually from Michaels. It is a workstation. It's called the mobile workstation from Michaels, and I like it because it does have the pull-out tray for my Cricut, but underneath that part there are two drawers. So on the top, no, three drawers. I'm looking at it now. The top drawer I keep a lot of my shipping things. So I have my scale, my tape, packing tape, things like that. The second drawer I keep more packaging stuff. So I have packaging for my cards and packaging for the bookmarks I make, packaging for pens, um, tissue paper. And then on the bottom shelf is where I keep overflow of a few other packaging things. And so that one's really cool. The other cool thing about this unit that I really like is that on the end, the leaves, they can go down, they can stay up. So I can have a long, like if I'm cutting fabric or something, I can have the leaves up. If I needed it to fit into a smaller space, I can put the leaves down and then it's there. And then the third thing that I really like is that you know how it pulls out, you saw where I pull out, that top part actually flips up. And so I can have like a keyboard workstation or something like that. So it is a really cool station and I like it a lot. Thank you for that question. Again from Michaels. Hi Barb. How do I store my extra long mats? Do you store them flat? I do store them flat. So let me see if I can show you what that unit's not. I have some shelves, some of the wire shelves that my Cricut is on right now. I have a spot where I can put those there. Now, I put those stored away because I don't use them often. If I'm doing a project that's going to take me more than a day, more than a weekend, I'll go ahead and add another pin and hang them up so that I'm just putting them back, taking them off, putting them back. And I just make sure I have that 24 inches of space, a little bit more than 24 inches, so that I have space on my wall there. Thank you for that question, Barb. That was a good one. Jane, you have a yay Cricut Explorer 2 and a Joy. The Joy I was able to use easily, but I never took the air. Take it out of the box. You paid for that. And even if you didn't pay for it, wherever you got it, whoever gave it to you, they paid for it. Um, when I first started, I'll be honest with you. Okay, let's take this back. My first Cricut, my very first Cricut was one of the small ones that used cartridges, and that stayed in the box for like over a year, tucked away underneath my other table because I took it out and I was like, what in the world? This one had where you had to adjust the pressure and the passes and all of this stuff, and it wasn't very, to me, very user friendly. But that was back in the day, right? Fast forward, I get my Cricut Explorer. The next one I got was the Cricut Explorer Air, and I was afraid of that one too. I was very intimidated. I went to a friend's house once. I spent an hour with her. All she did was show me how to use the software, real basically how to use the software. I got in there. I have not put my machine down since. I'm serious. I love my Cricut machines. And so it's very common to feel that way, but I'll tell you what helped me a lot, using it. Like anything else, just like anything else, until you get to using it, you're not going to you're not going to feel comfortable with it. And here's the cool thing though, Jane, the same exact software that you're using with your Joy to get those and you're comfortable with that, that's the same thing you're doing with the bigger Cricut. You're going to use the exact same. The only difference is that you're going to have more options because you have a wider space to work with. You have, instead of being limited to that 4.5 inches, you have 11.5 inches to work with all the way across. And you can do print and cut. So you can make your stickers there. You can make print and cut cards. There's just so many more things that you can do. You can cut wood, your birch wood, your balsa wood, things like that. So I would suggest just trying a little at a time. Think about a project. Think about a project that you might want to try that you can do on the Joy, but make it bigger so that you can do and make yourself do it on your Explorer too. Because until you try it, you're going to still feel like that, and it's a very valid feeling. I love that question because that's how many of us feel. Hi, Eve. I love that name. My daughter's has a similar name. Ooh, you want to know about my shelves behind me? So these right here, and I'm going to get up. This is my glitter shelf. I do a lot of glitter projects as well. Please excuse me too. I'm getting over a cold and allergies, so I'm going to take a little bit of a sip. Give me just a second. And asthma as well. Sorry, guys. So these shelves are actually acrylic floating shelves from Amazon. They're really cool because you can, like you said, you can't really see what's going on except for what's on them, and they're very easy. So each unit is from here to here, about 18 inches long, and then you can put them however you want to. You can stagger them, line them up like I did. Just a very versatile and great way, and they go on very easily just with screws and anchors. Hi, Laura. I love that question as well.
Hey, Naomi, do you need a
Yes.
break? Do you need a
Can you give
proper
me just
break for a minute?
give me a quick 1 minute?
Okay, and I'll entertain the people while you're. Hi, everyone. Thanks for your patience. Poor Naomi. It's stressful enough to be live with everybody than to have a coughing fit and, just feel that pressure of trying to answer all the questions. So I know she'll be back in a few seconds or in a few minutes, and she'll get us all your questions answered. I don't have a Cricut, so I am not a person who can help you. But while we're waiting for her, maybe you want to tell me in the comments what your favorite part of today's lessons have been. What's the best thing you've learned so far today? Okay, looks like she's ready. Oh, she's giving me the thumbs up. Here she comes.
I apologize for that, guy. I thought I could make it through. Okay, so Laura has a great question. What's the best Cricut for paper crafting? Laura, that was a loaded question. Let me know, what kind of paper crafting do you want to do? If you're doing something just like cards and that's it, the Cricut Joy is plenty and nothing more. But if you want to do, say you want to do full page layouts and you want to cut big things, anything bigger than 4.5 inches across, and the paper and things like that, you're going to want to use at least an Explore. Your Explore 2 would be your best option. Or if you want to do some kind of print and cut, where you're going to have your printer cut it, you're going to design it on your in your Cricut software. You're going to have your printer print it, your design, and then cut around it with your Cricut. You're going to need, at the minimum, an Explore 2. But for a lot of paper crafting, the Cricut Joy is it's awesome. It's portable. You can carry it with you. It actually comes with a card mat. It's That was one of the biggest selling points when the Cricut Joy came out, is that it was made for crafting, for making cards, and so that's a really good one as well. I like that question. But tell me, Laura, what kind of paper crafting you want to do, and then we can circle back around to that. If you get a little bit more specific, I can give you a little bit more specific help. Delina, Delina Quilter. Hey. Oh, ScanNCut, not a Cricut. Okay. Do Cricut item suggestions apply to that machine? They do. Now, I had a design and cut for a while because I didn't want to know more about, and it was how can you turn down a $50 design and cut brand new? I couldn't turn it down, so I had it. I had it for a minute. Um, it didn't. It and I, we didn't really gel. We didn't really get along. But I brought nothing different aside from, as far as storage and organization goes, nothing different. Um, Materials to work with using it, Nothing different. Now, the only thing that is different, of course, specific to it are the mats and the blades that you're using. But a lot of the things that you're using, you're going to use the same papers, the same kinds of papers, things like that. The files, because you can still use SVG files, right? So your files that you can use with that, they're going to be very similar. And so there is a lot of overlap in things that you can do there. The software is quite different, but you can still use a lot of those things. I like that question. I like that question a lot. Karen Zapata, how do you organize your vinyl scraps? The ones that can't be stored in your roll holder. Okay, my vinyl scraps, I had to get creative with that. And I had to I had to have a conversation with myself like, Naomi, okay, come on now. We are not hoarders. I'm not a hoarder, but I was saving all the scraps. So first of all, the first suggestion I have is think about: are you going to use it, am I going to use it, or am I not going to use it? How likely am I? Is this? I'm not going to save a little piece like this, right? So here's what I do: my vinyl scraps go in one part. I have a drawer where I keep my vinyl scraps, and then my HTV, my iron-on vinyl, go in another place. Now, to get more, I know a lot of people who store them by color in plastic bags. I started with them in plastic bags and things like that, but because of the bulk of work that I'm doing, it's that gets difficult. So I like my see-through case that I know where things are, and I like to separate them when I have a chance by kind of vinyl scrap. So first of all, like I said, the first thing: am I likely to use this again, and is this big enough to be used again? Okay, and then the second thing is by kind. So I have my regular vinyl. So my permanent and my removable vinyls, I can put those in the same spot. I can have glitter vinyls somewhere else, and then I have my scraps for some, or at least separated somehow. But that's how I store them, just by group, and just in a drawer, and I have a plastic, some plastic containers like the shoe boxes, but a little bit bigger, because it's easy to just. And every once in a while, every so often, I go in there and clear out what I need to clear out, knowing, okay, I haven't touched this in so long. It's not likely that I'm going to use this. A lot of times I'll save them because I have kids, and I'm a teacher. And so I know these are things that my kids can use in their crafting, and I don't have to give them my good stuff. They don't have to get into my new rolls of vinyl or my new sheets of vinyl. So that's how that works for me. I hope that was helpful. Do you design your own SVGs? I do. I do design my own SVGs. So I do use other SVGs, other creators that are wonderful. And now there are places that I love to get source my SVGs from. But I do love to create my own as well. So I have taken at least three different courses on creating SVGs. I do have, of those three, they've been all of them are really good, and by notable and very well known crafters and people. And I've learned something different from each of them. But within those, I've learned, and it was worth it for me, because now I can create more than just going into Cricut Design Space or wherever I'm working, or Silhouette Studio, and just using the elements there. I can actually go into Adobe Illustrator. I can create what I want either from scratch. Scraps. We were talking about scraps. From scratch, I can go ahead and get in there and use my shapes and get the fonts there and manipulate the fonts that are already on my system and in my system computer, and just in my computer system, and just go to town with that and create my own things. I can pull elements that are for commercial use from other places that are licensed, that license us to use them, and create my own. So yes, I do design my own SVGs. I have so much fun with that. I sometimes I take time off of creating when I'm sure I'm done with all my other projects, which is very rare, from physical creation, and I just spend a good 2 3 days just designing SVGs. So if you're interested in those, I can help you with those too. Jane, I like that question. What are SVG files? Okay, so I pay for Cricut Access as well, and that's because I'm able to use a lot of the elements that are in there. Okay, if you're not using Cricut Access, yeah, you can see like, well, why am I throwing away this, 120, what, 100, 10 times 12, $120 a year on a service I'm not using. So SVG stands for Scalable Vector Graphic. And SVG is different, and you'll see that at the end. of a lot of if you're buying files from like um, Creative Fabrica or Design Bundles or the Hungry JPEG, at the end it'll say the file name and then .svg or .png, .jpg. SVG is made so that for your cut files, basically they're for your cut files. So you're able to manipulate it and it doesn't change the resolution. And so that's what, and they're layered. A lot of times your SVGs are layered, and it's because you can change the size and dimension without getting blurs and things like that because you're going to cut them, which you can't really do with a PNG. PNGs, if you ever see that PNG or JPG, those are actually meant for printing. Those are print files really, for like sublimation or for printing off other coloring sheets, things like that. So you want to look for SVG files if you're going to be cutting. A lot of these things need to be converted into SVG files. And you'll see something that says SVG, and um, it's not a true SVG file unless you can use it across different platforms. So Cricut, we've got our own thing going on over here in Cricut, and you cannot use Cricut files outside of Cricut Design Space, but you can use SVG files inside of inside of Cricut. I hope that helps. I hope that helps. The 2010 Cricut, not Debbie, Deborah, I'm sorry. Is that the one that, the small little one with the 2010? I'm trying to think back in my mind. 2010 cartridge. I think that might be the one that I had at first. That might be my original Cricut. um, any advice on it? If you can work with it, I can keep working with it. And I don't like to say this to people because I don't know your situation. But my other advice would be, if you can, you might want to see if you can bump up to at least a Cricut Explorer, at least an Explorer 2, because you have more support, you have more options with it. Now, if you're just going to do like die cutting and you have the cartridges already, I would just say just play with it. Just play with it. Cut what you want, experiment. That one's a little bit more. It's not as user friendly in this computer world that we're in now. It's really difficult to get someone um, that could actually help you along the way with that one. I said that's the first one I had, but I gladly put that one to the side when I got my Explorer because it's just so much easier um, to work with. That was a good question. Hi, Jane again. Okay, you don't have a Cricut, but oh, thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. I I'm a teacher. I'm an educator. I grew up teaching. I grew up learning how to teach. I've always been taught how to teach. And so I guess it does. And I thank you for saying that. It makes me feel good about what I do because I do love teaching and it helps me. Sublimation. Barb, that's a good one. Just a second. Sublimation is a high heat process. Okay, so in sublimation, you have your dye ink. So it's not there are printers. So there's ink and there's paint, but those are heat transfer. And so what happens is that with your sublimation, that ink under high heat is transferred into the material, your substrate, your base that you're using. Okay, so that can be stainless steel that's coated correctly. It could be something like a shirt, but it can't be a normal shirt. Like the fabric has to be polyester because the dyes will not bind with natural fibers. So what happens is that it dyes with it and it becomes one. If you've ever heard of like Cricut infusible ink, that's a sublimation process. I'm going to show you an example very quickly. I have one here. So this cup here, I use sublimation on this cup. This is not coming out. You can't feel it. It becomes one with the article. This has a special sublimation coating on it. Now the heat is very high. For instance, with like polyester, we're talking like 400 degrees. When I do these, we're looking at like at least 385 degrees. But you have to use sublimation ink or heat transfer ink, and you have to use like a sublimation printer, and then you want to have that high heat source. So that's sublimation. You can do so much with it. The pull-out drawer, my Maker 3, that one, yeah, that one's been popular. People have been asking. I got that one, Shannon, from Michaels. Actually, it's right here. I can't show you because it's, let me see. It's this one right here. You guys see my mess on my floor. That one's from Michaels. It's called the Mobile Workstation. And I, like I said, I was telling other earlier that it's very versatile. I can use it with the ends up or the leaves down, one up, one down, both down, both up. It doesn't. There's just so much I can do with it, and so I really like this. And that's a good question. I'd like to check that Michaels. Every once in a while, they have good sales as well. I wish I had a link for you all for a discount, but I don't have a link with Michaels, and so just check it out. And when that goes on sale, you might want to think about snagging you one because this has been well worth the investment. And it wasn't that expensive, honestly, but it's been well worth the investment I put in it. This has been moved at least 3 times from one house to another house, and then from one room in this house to another to no, to my studio. So, and it's holding up. So it's a good piece. That's a good question, Shannon. Thank you for asking. My favorite type of projects to make with my Cricut. That's a tough one. It used to be cards. I'll tell you, I started off making cards and paper, but I quickly found out that I love vinyl. And more than adhesive vinyl, I love iron on vinyl. So anything that I can do with iron on vinyl, I'm there. I'm there. I love transforming shirts and I love making bags and all kinds of things. I would say sublimation, but I don't use my Cricut for sublimation. I I just don't. Um, but that's what I like. You don't want a big machine. I got the Joy. I haven't used it yet. Oh man, the Joy is awesome. Here's the thing, though, Brenna, and I love your last name, by the way. I wonder why, right? The cartridges will only work if you can. If they're first of all, they have to not be linked already. So if someone gave them to you and they were already linked, you cannot. Unfortunately, you can't use them with your Joy. The other thing is that you'll need to get. You need to have a way to take them from the actual cartridge and to link them to your Cricut account. Now they used to have what are they called? Cartridge adapters, Cricut cartridge adapters that you can use to link. I have not seen those. I can't even find. You might find them on eBay. I haven't even seen it on Amazon because it's so far back now. If you happen to have access to an Explorer Air or an Explorer Air 2, they still have the little cartridge where you can put a cartridge in, and you can use that even if a friend has one. And you can do that and sign in with your account, connect their machine to your account, um, to your computer that you're using, and just transfer it real quick. Use it to link it to. So what you're doing essentially is linking that cartridge to your account. Okay, so once that cartridge is linked to one account, there's no way to unlink it. So you just link the cartridge to your account, and then whenever you sit, wherever you sign into your account, whether it's on your Joy or somewhere else, you'll have access to that. So that's the only way that I know of at the moment to be able to get usage out of your cartridges, which is really cool. And I would, if you can't find one, check pawn shops. Um, Offer Up. We found an Explorer 2 when we were on vacation a couple of years ago on Offer Up. I paid $50 for it so I could craft while I was on vacation. That's how much I was missing crafting. We go in ahead and got one. And if you can just get one really inexpensive, or like I said, you have a friend that you can borrow from, try that. That's like the only advice I have now. Joanna M. Who or what is EJ of EJFC? I love that question. So EJFC stands for EJ's Fun Crafting. That's the name of my. If you see it in my name down underneath, that is the name of my business. I call it EJ's Fun Crafting. EJ is very special to me. E and J, and people will call me EJ sometimes when they don't know me, and that's how I can tell if people don't know me. Hey EJ, would you like to join our? Well, you don't know me, so um, EJ are actually my parents' initials, and so my father and my mother, they're both of them. Their first initial is E, and my dad's second initial is J. So it's EJ's Fun Crafting. All three of my children have the E and the J in their name, and have some part of my mom and my dad as well. So they have EJ are their initials, either first and middle name or their middle name by itself, because I love my family, and so that's where EJ came from. That's a good one, Carrie. Thank you for saying that. I'll be able to share that with other people as well. So If you call customer service support, they may be able to help you with linking your cartridge. Thank you for sharing that. I've never had to do it, so um, that's a good point. Thanks, Carrie. I appreciate that. Pull out drawer was. Oh, this is my mobile workstation from Michaels. So mobile workstation from Michaels. That's my station, my mobile station, with the little drawer that the desk that pulls out. And again, the top of it flips open also, so I that gives me some more open space if I'm working with something. I don't have to put my Cricut on it. I can put my computer on here along with my keyboard or something like that. But when it flips open, that's perfect. That is a perfect workspace for. Like I said, that's why it's so versatile, and that's why I did make the investment. You guys have asked me some really great questions. Okay, any more? And I'm sorry I stole about 2 minutes of your time because of my little asthma attack here. I even came in early into my studio, turned on the air conditioner to make sure that that I would be okay. But like I said, I'm getting over a cold as well, along with the allergies and the asthma here in West Texas. So, but thank you for hanging out with me. If anybody has any more questions, you can find me on EJ's Fun Crafting everywhere. Everywhere. Pink Lady. Ooh, two pink ladybugs. I like that. How much time do I spend crafting? A lot. Um, in my studio and exclusively crafting, it just depends. If I'm for business, I'm crafting a good 20 hours or so a week. Personally, if it's just for myself, I'm happy if I can get in a good 2 to 3 hours, maybe like on a Saturday or a Sunday. I rarely stay up late, and that used to be my thing, staying up late, but I'm not 30 anymore. So um I do wake up early though, and I have a lot of tasks. I'm um I'm a mom, and so working with my kids, I love crafting with my kids. And so I just collectively I am crafting all the time. I craft almost every single day between my preschool class and my own kids. But I do spend I wish I had more time, but I'm happy for the time I do have. That was a great question. The mini pegboard that has my nesting doll on it. Let me look. Oh, right here. This one. That was a good question, Joe Marie. That's actually a find from Five Below. I got that from Five Below, but they're always switching out their stock. And so this was actually a year and a half ago, I think. And I loved it so much, I bought it. And I thought I was going to use it for something else, but it's decorative right now. But it does have some pegs in it. I do have just some of my heat resistant tape on it, but that's where I got that. The newest Cricut for paper crafting, cards, and scrapbooking. The newest Cricut is the Cricut Maker 3 and the Explorer 3. Those are the two newest ones. I was explaining also earlier, Laura, that if you're just looking to do paper crafting, like cards, I'm sorry, just card crafting, the Cricut Joy might serve you perfectly. Perfectly. But the newest one, where you can do lots of things, is going to be your Maker 3 or the Explorer 3. The Maker 3 has more capabilities because of the adaptive tool system where you can change out the tips and do different things like that, and embossing and engraving and all kinds of things, perforation, things like that. You can cut more materials. You can use the knife blade. You have the rotary blade, things like that. If you're going to be cutting fabric, especially things like that. But if you're cool with not using any of those features, the Explorer 3 is also great. And so either one of those. I love preschool. Yeah, the art hanging behind you from your children. So I got to make sure because it's opposite for me here. This one right here. Let me go this way. This one right here. Yes, that is actually my son's, and I think that was from like a year ago or two. But yes, that is my son's art right there. I have some more of my kids' art over here, and then on this side I have. I love this. This is my space, and I love keeping it organized. But I don't like being away. I need time away from my children, but I also love having reminders of them, and I want them to know what I have. Everyone, thank you for participating. You can find me again. I'm Naomi Garcia from EJ's Fun Crafting. Look for me there. And if you see anything from my in my presentation that you have questions on, tag me in the group, and I'll be sure to answer you. Thanks again for being here with us. Everyone have a great time and enjoy the rest of the seminar. Bye-bye.